Hey guys, I'm Archana from Edureka and I welcome you all to this session on software testing tools. But before we get started, let's quickly take a look at topics which we will be talking about in today's session. We will begin with a brief introduction on software testing and types of software testing. Then we will move on to our today's topic, which is software testing tools. We will learn the benefits of using these testing tools, features that a good software testing tool must have, and how to select a proper testing tool. Finally, we will end the session by discussing various types of software testing tools available in market. So I hope agenda was clear to you guys. Let's get started there. The primary objective of any software project is to get a high quality output while reducing the cost and the time required for completing the project. And to do that, companies need to test their software before it actually goes out the door. Software testing over time has evolved as an important domain in computer science. Software testing basically is the process of executing the software or an application to find out if there are any bugs or some sort of errors in it. Before software actually goes public, programmers spend hours trying to iron out every little bug there is. They check for any mistakes and problem in the design and the functionality of software or any application. Until then, product won't be available for commercial use in the market. Finding out bugs can be a lot of fun not only for the testers but it's also for everyone who wants their application to be free of bugs. I'm sure you use a lot of applications daily, right? And you don't want any sort of errors or bugs in them. Today's tester has a high demand in IT market. According to recent reports, companies contribute about 25% budget to testing alone, and by 2025, it may be around 33%. Well, that points out the demand for testers these days. Software testing is basically divided into two types: manual testing and automation testing. Manual testing, it's pretty self-explanatory. Here, testing of a web application is basically done by human. This means that someone actually goes on a device to evaluate components like design, functionality, and performance. They click through multiple elements or units of web application without support from a tool or a script. But testing to find defects or bugs manually is time consuming, expensive, often repetitive, and subjective to human error. This is where automation testing comes into picture. Automation basically focuses on replacing manual human activity with systems or tools or some sort of devices that enhance the efficiency and reduce the time required. Test automation or automation testing use the assistance of tools, scripts, and software to perform test cases by repeating predefined actions when needed. So, automation testing and using different kind of tools and scripts will give a company a competitive edge in the market. Test automation is being considered as the most effective way to enhance coverage, efficiency, and effectiveness of any software application. For example, Amazon is testing delivery drones that pick up warehouse orders sorted by robots. Google is testing self-driving cars. Starbucks is testing cashier-free stores dedicated to mobile ordering and payment. And Facebook is testing a brain-computer interface that may one day translate your thoughts into digital text. Fascinating, right? So basically, automation is redefining the way the engineers perform testing operations. Having said that, the toughest task for any project is to decide whether test automation is required or not. So once you and your team decide you're ready to get started with automation or software testing in general, there are three things that you should decide on. Well, I call it 3 P's of software testing and test automation. The first one is products. Software testing tool selection is one of the most important steps before testing any software in any organization. It is important because the tool will greatly affect your automation effort. If the tool is good and gives you required features, the testing becomes easier, effective, and fun. Next comes people. For your software testing to go right, you need a team of talented people who are ready to accept challenges and have programming, technical, and variety of automation skills. And lastly, we have process. Process are nothing but the test cases and the test scripts which you write to test your application or any sort of software using the suitable tools. So basically, these are 3 P's of software testing and test automation, and the 3 important things without which software testing will not be effective and cannot be done. So if you are wondering why I mentioned these things here, That's because I want you to understand that tools play a very important role and they form very first step in software testing. So let's discuss more about the benefits of software testing tools, which is the topic for today's session. So first of all, tools offer higher test coverage. Using tools to perform testing offers testers achieve higher coverage with greater process consistency and relevant repetition. You can automate the repeated task with these tools and write test cases that cover maximum scenarios. So basically, software testing tools increase the test coverage. And obviously, they save time and resources used. In manual testing, you have to spend a lot of time and effort and money. The main objective of any company, as I said in the beginning, is to achieve best product with less effort, time, and money. Testing tools are very helpful in that manner. They automate the repetitive tasks, decrease the weight on humans, increase the speed and efficiency of testing. This way, they save a lot of time and other resources. Thirdly, they offer support for multiple platforms. Testing often involves performing same kind of test on multiple applications on different platforms. And believe me when I say there are multiple platforms. And doing that without help of any tools is too much work and just waste of time. Software testing tools are made in such a way that using a single tool, you can check the functionality of your software or application on multiple platforms in reasonable amount of time. So they support for multiple platforms. And next up, we have bug-free releases. Software testing tools relieve the stress that occur before every release, and they earn kudos for bug-free releases. And next you have easy finding and fixing defects. Tools help find defects in early stages of development and fix them very easily in the beginning itself. Not only the beginning stages, even later, tools speed up your testing process. They make it easy for testers to find defects. Find and fix defects of engineering and before they are found by end users. That's what these testing tools offer. And lastly, they help in faster release of software, patches, and new applications with fewer end user issues. So to tell in one sentence, software testing tools make testing more interesting, more fun, and less stressful for the team of software testers. Moving on to next part, let's see what are the characteristics of a good testing tool, or the features that a good testing tool must and should have. First of all, any software testing tool should be easy to use. If tool makes our life complex, then what is the point of using it, right? So it should be easy to use and maintain. Secondly, it should be compatible with multiple platforms and technology that you are using. Ideally, a tool should support all and most of the applications and platforms that you use in your organization for your project. And just because customers aren't running your product on Mac today doesn't mean they won't be in future. So a tool that supports a variety of different operating system configurations is great asset. So tools should have operating system compatibility and platform compatibility. It should include features for implementing checkpoints to verify values, databases, or key functionality of your application. A good tool should support record and playback test creation as well as manual creation for your automation tests. Well, apart from that, a good testing tool should have a good debugging facility. Additionally, the tool should provide detailed failure logs so that any script error can be easily identified and fixed without a lot of time. It should offer robust object identification, object and image testing abilities, and object identification. It should also support testing of a database. And finally, the most important thing, the cost. A tool should do everything you need it to do without being a slow drain on your testing budget. A good testing tool should always be worthy of your pay. So these are certain features that a good testing tool should always have. So before you go ahead and select any software testing tool, make sure all these features are checklisted. So now that you know the features, the next question obviously would be, how do you select a proper tool that suits your requirement? Don't worry, I've got it covered for you guys. A testing tool helps a product to be market ready and climb up in the charts in terms of meeting user expectations. There are many criteria to consider while selecting the automation tool or software testing tool in general. Let's take a look at simple yet efficient approach to select the right automation tool or software testing tool for a testing project. So the first step is to understand your project requirements thoroughly. Next is to consider your existing tool or the current tool which you're using as benchmark. Then you evaluate the shortlisted tool based on certain key points. And finally, you use some sort of matrix to filter out a proper tool among the shortlisted tools. So now that we have listed down the steps, let's go through each step in deep. So the first step is always to understand your project requirements thoroughly. Firstly, you need to clearly understand whether your current software testing project needs manual or automated testing. While neither of these options are technically better or worse when compared to each other, the size, the budget, and the time allowance of a project will certainly be the factors that affect which method will work best for you. So get a deep understanding of your project requirements, such as project type. Well, it's based on web or desktop or mobile, scope of the project, and the existing team's strength on code language before you actually start the testing process. You should know what precisely does one need to automate and what amount of test cases need automation and which does not. So basically, the first step is you should have a thorough knowledge of your project requirements. Next step is to consider your existing tool as benchmark. You will never know if the tool is best or not unless you have some other tool to compare it with, right? Well, you can go ahead and experiment with all the tools, but it's really time consuming. So consider the current tool or the one which you're using right now as a benchmark to evaluate and determine the best automation tool that's suitable for your project. For example, let's say Selenium test automation tool is my current tool. I'll consider it as a benchmark. The advantages and drawbacks of this tool or Selenium WebDriver framework need to be understood before you actually go ahead and take next step. For example, like say Selenium is free open source tool which is available to test web applications and websites. It provides record playback tool to produce and record playback test scripts as well. It provides language support for a lot of languages like C#, Ruby, Java, Python, and Node.js, but it lacks proper customer support services or documentation. Browser compatibility is also another challenge with this tool. This way, you should know all about the current tool that you're using, pros as well as cons. So once you have compared all the tools with your current tool, make a list of selected tools. And then the tools in the shortlisted list need to be evaluated on other criterias, or you can say vital parameters, like is the tool easy to use and maintain? Does it support multiple application types? Well, they may be desktop, web, and mobile or web service based application to test. So the tool should support all these application types. Moving on, it should support multiple test environments and platforms. It should offer better scalability and access to other resources as well. The test automation tool should be extendable enough to meet the increasing or decreasing demands later on. And for testers, it should offer easy authoring of tests. I mean, a testing tool must let you create tests very quickly and efficiently. It should support integration with other kind of tools like continuous integration tools. It should also offer proper logging of results features. A software testing tool should keep a log of all the test activity and provide a detailed report for each activity. A testing tool should provide users the facility to export test results to share it among team members. Other features are like it should offer support for other features and functionalities. It should also provide mechanism for comparing the test results and many more. So these are few scenarios or you can say criterias or the vital parameters where you can evaluate tool on. After using your current tool as benchmark and shortlisting a list of tools, you can further shortlist or remove other kind of tools based on these vital parameters. So once you have a list of tools shortlisted using the 3 steps that we just talked about, the next step is to leverage a matrix technique for analysis and choose the best tool among the shortlisted ones. For example, you have something called Pug matrix, PUGH is how you spell it. It demonstrates the pros and cons of various tools using parameters which are vital for the project. So guys, these are 4 simple steps that you can follow to select a suitable testing tool for your project. Let me quickly summarize what we've learned. The first step is to properly understand the requirement of your testing project. The next step is to use a current tool or the one which you're using right now as the benchmark to evaluate rest of the tools. Compare all the tools that you have with your current tool. List out pros and cons as well. After that, from the list of shortlisted tools, evaluate them more on other features like we discussed. If the tool is easy to maintain or does it support different platforms, does it offer logging facility and many other features. And based on those vital parameters, you shortlist your tools again. And after these 3 steps from the remaining tools in your list, create a matrix and find out the best one which is suitable for your project. Well, this is not a fixed procedure or anything. It's one sort of procedure. There are others as well. You can Google them and learn more about it. So now that we know how to select a proper tool, let's take a look at different type of software tools which are available in market. So guys, there are many testing tools available that are useful in several places while testing software product. These tools can be categorized as static testing tools and dynamic testing tools. So static testing tools test the software without actually executing it. Rather, they're concerned with analyzing the code or documentation for syntax checking, consistency, etc. Static testing can be manual or even automated with the use of static analysis tools. Static analysis tools, they examine or they test the source code of program, highlight the statements with wrong syntax, undefined symbols or variables, or if there are any uninitialized variables, and so on. They also check for flaws in the logic flow of the program. Apart from that, they do not interfere with the execution of program. So basically, the software testing tools test the software without actually executing it. Next up, we have dynamic testing tools. So as the name indicates, these tools interact with the software while execution and help the testers by providing useful information about the program at different levels. This information may include number of times a particular statement is executed, or if or not all the branches of decision point have been exercised, the minimum and maximum values of variables, and so on. So basically, these tools interact with the software while execution. Well, that's one way of categorizing software testing tools. We also can categorize them as open source tools, vendor tools, and in-house tools. So what are these? First of all, open source tools. These are free to use frameworks and applications. Engineers build these tools and have source code available for free on the internet for other people to refer to. For example, you have Selenium, JMeter, and Appium. So basically, open source tools are nothing but free tools which are available online that you can use, and you can get source code as well. And as for the advantages of these open source tools, there's no license cost. Obviously, they're free. We can modify the source code if you want. And most of the time, all open source tools support all popular operating and browser environments. And as for the disadvantages, obviously, there is no reliable technical support, as in you don't know who you can contact if there is any error or anything. New features may not work properly, and very less documentation for you to get started with the tool. These are the advantages and disadvantages of open source tools. Open source tools are nothing but free tools which are available along with their source code on internet for you to use. And next up, we have vendor tools. Vendor tools are basically developed by companies that come with license to use, and often they cost money and a lot. Because they're developed by an outside source, technical support is often available for use for customers. And the popular examples of vendor tools, we have Windrunner, Silk Test, QTP, and Rational Robot, and many other tools. As for the advantages, like I said earlier, vendor provides technical support if you raise any issue or complaint. New features will work properly because these tools are developed by some company. So vendors update test tools frequently. They provide sufficient documentation. That's help manual. As for the disadvantages, since these are licensed tools, they're costly. And these tools support some popular operating systems and browser environments, but that's it. They don't usually support all platforms. And lastly, we have something called in-house tools. An in-house tool is a tool that a company builds for their own use rather than purchasing vendor tools or using open source tools. For example, Microsoft developed so many test tools for their internal use. Then you have IBM, which has developed so many test tools for their internal use. And same goes with Oracle Corporation as well. So basically, in-house tools are something that companies develop for their own use rather than purchasing the vendor tools or using the free open source tools available on internet. So yeah, this is one way of categorizing software testing tools: open source, vendor, and in-house tools. We can also categorize tools based on their purpose. Like we have agile testing tools, automation testing tools, mobile testing tools, load testing, and test management tools. You also have something called user testing tools. But let's just discuss these 5 types today. So there are tons of software testing tools available these days under each of these categories. It's really hard to keep track of 100 plus software testing tools out there. So if you want to know more about any of the tool, you can actually refer to articles out there which actually list out the popular tools. We have one by Edureka as well, which is named as software testing tools. As for today's session, let's discuss selection of popular and well-known software testing tools in various categories. So the first type that we are discussing is agile testing tools. Actually, the introduction of agile tools has revolutionized the realm of software testing. The software testing tools not just simplify the process, but they also increase the testing credibility. Companies are adopting agile software development methodologies such as Scrum, Extreme Programming, or XP for their projects. So, agile has become popular these days. But agile testing comes with many challenges. It requires experimenting and trying new ideas. Anyway, few popular agile testing tools include Jira. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a popular agile testing as well as project management tool which is developed by Atlassian, a software company that develop products for project managers, software developers, etc. This tool can be used for tracking defects, planning, creating reports, and managing all agile software development projects. It supports an agile methodology like Scrum, Kanban, and many others. And next is SOAP UI. It is an agile testing tool and is most advanced REST and service oriented architecture developed by Smart Bear. SOAP UI is basically used for functional testing of web services, which include web service development and invoking of web services and many other web service related functionalities. It's a free and open source tool. We did discuss what open source tools are, right? So the source code is available for you to edit. So using this tool, you can create and execute functional tests, regression tests, and load tests. It allows you to create test cases using drag and drop interface as well. So apart from these both, you also have other tools like TestTrail, JMeter, PractiTest, and many others. If you want to know more about them, you can refer to the blog by Edureka on list of software testing tools. So next category is automation testing tools. As I said earlier, automation testing these days is must for most software projects to ensure the functionality of key features. It also helps team efficiently run a large number of tests in short period of time. While on the screen, you can see a few tools that help software teams build and execute automated tests. We have something called HP Unified Functional Testing or UFT. It's formerly known as HP Quick Test Professional or QTP, is an automated functional graphical user interface testing tool which allows the automation of user actions on a client-based computer application. It offers cool features like object recognition, error handling mechanism, and automated documentation as well. It also uses a scripting language to manipulate the object and controls of application which are under test. And I'm sure you've heard of Selenium, right? The moment you type software testing anywhere, the first thing that pops out is Selenium. It's a popular testing framework to perform web application testing across various browsers and platforms like Windows, Mac, and Linux. With Selenium, you can come up with very powerful browser-centered automation testing scripts. And these scripts are most of the time are scalable across different environments. It is also compatible with several programming languages like C Sharp, Python, Ruby, .NET, and automation testing frameworks as well. You have another testing tool or automation testing tool spelled WATIR, and it is pronounced as water. It's an open source testing tool made up of Ruby libraries to automate web application testing. It's loaded with Ruby libraries. It also supports applications scripted in other languages as well. You can link it with databases, export your XML files, read files, spreadsheets, and synchronize code as reusable libraries. It is a very lightweight open source tool. Apart from these three, you also have Ranorex, Rational Functional Tester, Tosca, and many others. Next up, we have mobile testing tools. Mobile applications have become more and more important for businesses, and I'm sure you agree with that. So, testing teams need to adapt and get ready to verify and evaluate mobile apps as part of their projects. There are various tools and online resources to help testers build their tests for mobile devices, record and run automated user interface and unit tests on these mobile applications. Some of the popular tools that you might have heard of include Appium Studio, Appium, C-Test, Eggplant, Test Complete, and Cobiton. So guys, Appium is the most popular mobile testing tool, and we have a separate video for Appium and Appium Studio in the Edureka software testing playlist. You can go ahead and refer to that video if you want to know more about these tools. We also have load testing tools. The use for websites, web applications, and application programming interface or APIs has become more and more critical in recent times. It's important to design and build them efficiently so that they can handle a huge number of requests that are coming from users. So to actually test and verify the performance of these services under load, developers can perform load and stress tests using different kind of load testing tools. For example, you have JMeter, WAPT or WAPT, Load Ninja, WebLoad, Smart Meter, Sung, and many others. And lastly, we have test management tools. Software development teams can benefit by test case management tools. They can use web page management tools to manage their projects, testing resources, recording test results, and generate report to help optimize all their testing activities. So basically everything regarding tests, like creating test cases and analyzing the results of the test cases, creating some statistics based on the analyzed results. For all these purposes, they can use managed or test management tools. So there are various test management tools which are available for different needs, and the most popular ones include Zephyr, Qmetry, Qtest, TestLodge, TestRail, TestLink, and many others out there. So guys, with this we have reached the end of the session. I hope the session was informative and fun. If you have doubt or any kind of comment regarding any software testing tool or anything that we discussed in today's session, please post them in the comment section below and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you guys, and we'll meet you in the next session.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!